Hi there everyone, welcome back to the channel and welcome to this 1500 point battle report between the forces of the Chaos Space Marines and the Tyranids. Slowly going through the Leviathan box and getting my Tyranids ready to join Hive Fleet Kraken. So I figured I would put the Tyranids up against the Chaos Space Marines in today's battle. So again, we are playing a Leviathan mission. So pulling a deployment, primary, and mission rule from the deck, here's what we're looking at. We have Hammer and Anvil deployment. Primary mission is take and hold, so we're going to get 5 points for each objective marker that we control. And the mission rule is sweep and clear, so objectives are going to remain under our control, even if we don't have models on them. So kind of a straightforward pull from the Leviathan mission deck. As you can see, we've got the trio of No Man's Land objective right here down the center line, while we have one in each of the deployment zones deployed on one of the ruins. All the buildings that you see on the table are going to act as ruins, and essentially the footprints are going to be these kind of squares that are printed on the cardboard tiles from Titan's terrain. So if there is a model in the footprint, we'll say that they're in the ruins there, and then the rest of it will hopefully be line of sight blocking, which probably won't matter because both of these armies I designed to be pretty melee focused. So with the mission and the table out of the way, let's take a look at the armies. For the forces of the Chaos Space Marines, trying to do something a little bit differently. So everybody in the Chaos Space Marine army is going to have the mark of Slaaneshi. So that is going to be sustained hits on 5s instead of 6s in close combat when we do our Dark Pact. Going from left to right as I'm looking at the table, we have a 5-man squad of Legionnaires with a plasma gun and the Dark Apostle and his 2 little cultist friends attached. Then we have a 2-man squad of Obliterators that are my converted aggressors. Then over here, one of the big close combat bombs, a 10-man squad of Legionnaires with an Icon and chainsword bolt pistols on all 10 of the Legionnaires inside of a Chaos Rhino. Over here on the home field objective for CSM, we have another Legionnaire squad, this time with a heavy bolter. We've got the Warlord, a Demon Prince with wings. He also has the Slaaneshi plus 2 inches to his move for his demonic allegiance. Then a 5-man squad of Possessed, a Mauler Fiend, and a second 5-man squad of Possessed round out the flank. In Deep Strike Reserves, we have our 5 Warp Talons, and then here's the rest of that squad of Legionnaires that are ready to come out of that Rhino. So, that's the forces of the CSM. Now let's look at the Tyranids. Getting some of the Leviathan models painted and on the table, so kind of built the list around them while trying to be relatively close combat focused. So over here we have a 20-man squad of Gargoyles with the winged Tyranid Prime right over here. Tyranid Prime is going to be perfectly adapted. So that is going to be re-rolling 1 hit, wound, damage, advance, or charge roll for him. Then we've got the Screamer Killer ready to run up the board and hopefully take out some Possessed. Behind them we have one of 2 squads of Termagants with 20 Flesh Borers. We've got the Tyrannifex with the Rupture Cannon ready to hopefully wound the Mauler Fiend or the Demon Prince. Then 20 Hormagaunts ready to run up and claim the center of the field. Also got the Barbagonts ready for the game, so they are going to be sitting back on the home field objective. Then 20 more Gaunts. Finally, the Psychophage and the Winged Hive Tyrant. The Hive Tyrant is going to have adaptive biology, so that's 5 up, feel no pain. And if he is wounded at the start of any turn, that's going to turn into a 4 up, feel no pain instead. So the CSM are going to have to hope to kill him in one fell swoop. Nothing in Deep Strike or reserves for the Tyranids. So with that, let's take a look at the roll-off. Both of these are pretty melee-focused armies, so both of these I think want to go second so that their enemy has to approach. Red die is going to be the Tyranids, black die is going to be the CSM. And it is going to have to be Chaos Space Marines turn 1. Turn 1 for the Chaos Space Marines, and it looks like we are not going to get off to a particularly swift start with the secondaries. For the cards, have told us to capture the outpost and cleanse. Capture enemy outpost we're obviously not getting, and cleanse probably aren't going to be able to do. But with it being turn 1, don't want to spend my once per game CP to discard and get another secondary, so we're going to have to deal with them. Maybe I can do something and get the cleanse on at least one objective, but other than that, we're just going to move on out with the CSM and come back to you with shooting. Moving on out with the Chaos Space Marines, here's how we're looking. We've gone pretty defensive with our movement, so kind of just taking cover with the Possessed over there with the Demon Prince and the Mauler Fiend. These Possessed, I used a CP, or my 1 CP, on Unnatural Swiftness. Because they are Slaanesh, that gives them the ability to shoot and declare a charge. So that will give them the ability to do the cleanse action on this objective. And also hope to act as kind of a bait to get some of the Tyranids to approach on this flank, so that I can strike back with the Mauler Fiend and hopefully wipe out a unit or 2 over there. Other than that, it was pretty straightforward. Just move in, trying to take some cover. Only other kind of bold move was from the Rhino, just because there aren't a ton of, or the majority of the anti-vehicle stuff isn't on that flank, so he's relatively safe. The Obliterators are also just barely within shooting range of some of the units, so we will have some interesting shooting to do as we go into our shooting phase. So we're going to go right into the shooting phase. The 2 Obliterators are going to go into this 20-man squad of Termagants. Since the one behind is only in range of that squad, might as well try to use them. So we are actually going to go with the Ruinous Salvo, since they are D6 plus blast, so there's going to be 2d6 plus 8 shots at strength 8 minus 2. So 2d6 plus 8, so that is going to be 18 shots. So 5, 10, 16, 18 shots. We're not going to make a Dark Pact. Just hoping to try to kill as many as we can. And then we are going to be hitting on 3s and killing on 2s. So hitting on 3s. Could have done the War Pail for D6 plus 3 and sustained hits 1, but figured getting a lot of benefits from Blast, so I might as well use it while I have it. And then choose to kill. That will be all of them dead, so that will be 4, 5, 6, 7, 10, 12 out of the 20 Termagants gone. For the other shooting, we just have the Rhino right here, and we're going to try to continue to whittle down that squad of Termagants, just because I know Tyranids can keep refilling the Endless Swarm units pretty efficiently. So we're going to go with the Havoc Launcher first, so it's going to be D6 plus 1, since there's still 8 in the squad, for 7 shots, so that's going to be 7 shots on 3s. Again, no need to make a Dark Pact here. So hitting on 3s, Wounding on 3s. So 3 wounds, no AP. Did have to take all the ones out of cover. So they're just going to be 5-up saves for the Gaunts. Make 1, fail 2. That'll be 2 of the Termagants gone. And then finally the 2 shots from the Combi Bolter. 2 hits. 1 wound. Will kill 1 more. So that'll be only 5 Gaunts remaining. And probably the last shooting is just going to be the squad of Legionnaires. The Legionnaires have 3 bolt guns and the plasma gun in range. So we're going to start off with the bolt guns on 3s. Squad might be able to survive. Wounding on 3s. 5-up saves. So that's just going to be 1 more taken down from bolt guns. And then the plasma gun, not overcharging obviously, will take out another 2. So that will be 18 out of 20 Gaunts taken down. And I believe, unless the heavy bolter has range, that is done for the shooting phase and done for the turn. Yes, we do just barely have 36-inch range to the Termagants. And I did catch my mistake. Plasma guns only have 1 shot from that distance, so put 1 of the Gaunts back. So if I can get this perfectly with the heavy bolter, this is the squad white. Alright, so 1 hit, or 2 hits, 1 miss, and sustained hits 1 on a heavy bolter. That'll be 3 shots. And then 3s to wound. Alright, so I need to see at least 1/6 here for the Termagants to be alive. And I do not, and that is most definitely not worth it. So that is a squad of Gaunts gone. So that is going to do it for turn 1 for the Chaos Space Marines. Killing a full 20 bug squad of Gaunts was a lot more than I was expecting this army to do in shooting. We did secure 3 points on Cleanse for this one objective here with the Possessed. We're probably going to have to be some sacrificial lambs to do that. And I also got rid of Capture Enemy Outpost for another CP. So that is turn 1 for the Chaos Space Marines. Now let's take a look at how the Hive Fleet responds. First turn for the Tyranids, and the cards are Investigate Signals and Extend Battle Lines. So Extend Battle Lines we want to do anyway, we just want to control objectives. Investigate Signals might slow us down a bit and isn't particularly great since we are in only 2 quarters to begin with, but we shall have to see how the battle unfolds from here. So I'm not going to spend any CP to get rid of either of those cards. Nothing to do in the command phase, so now we are just going to get moving with the Tyranids. At the end of movement phase, here's how we're looking for the Tyranids. Winged Hive Tyrant has moved up, not quite in range of the subjective, but potentially can charge into the squad with the Dark Apostle in it, or the Rhino, or the squad that's in the Rhino if the Rhino gets popped. Psychophage did, in fact, move up his 8 inches, while the Hormagaunts got the full 16-inch moves with their 10-inch and a 6-inch advance. So they are dead center, definitely claiming Extend Battle Lines for me, while both the Tyrannifex and Zoanthropes are lined up to crack open this Rhino. Barbgaunt stood still on the home field objective, while the Termagants have just kind of moved forwards, not forwards, to the side, to get at least 1 of the 4 table quarters scanned for Investigate Signals, mainly just to get some points while I kind of get that card out of the way. Then Screamer Killers and the Gargoyle Squad, led by the Winged Prime, are moving up to take some shots at the Possessed. So with that, we are ready to get going into the shooting phase for the Tyranids. We're going to get started with the Tyranid shooting into the Rhino, and a couple things that I decided off camera. For one thing, I forgot about the adaptive biology, or not adaptive biology, but the ability that the Tyranids will get for this game. So I'm going to give them swarming instincts from their adaptation for sustained hits 1 versus infantry, since really we've only got 2 vehicles in the list from the CSM and only 2 characters, so the other 2 aren't really going to be that big of an issue. We've also spent 1 CP to pop smoke with the Rhino, so -1 to hit and benefits of cover for the Rhino as we go in with the Tyranid Rupture Cannon. So we are going to be hitting on 4s since of pop smoke. Alright, so both of those will hit. Strength 18, toughness 9 of a Rhino, so 2s to wound. Just the 1, and I think with this being the big gun for the Tyranids, I will reroll my wound right there. And get another 1. So just the 1 at AP -4. So that would take me to no save, but I will get a 6-up thanks to smoke. So 6-up armor. No such luck there. So it's going to be 2d6 wounds on the Rhino. So technically possible for it to die. Not like that though. So snake eyes. Great. And I didn't declare where my stinger salvos were going to go, so I'll just kind of eat it and say that I was going to go into the Rhino as well for 8 attacks on 4s. So, not bad hitting. And 5 versus 9, so 5s to wound. Alright, nothing bad there. No AP, so 3-up saves. And it does almost as much damage as the gigantic Rupture Cannon does. Lovely. Alright, so that is the Tyranid done. Oh boy. Next up in shooting, I'm going to have the Zone Thropes go into the Rhino as well. Might as well try to use their focus switch fire to pop the tank while I hopefully can, before its passengers disembark. So 3 attacks on 4s because of smoke. Smoke's not coming up there too much. Strength 12, toughness 9, so 3s to wound. Alright. 3 wounds there at AP -3. So it would be a 6-up, going to a 5-up because of smoke. Ooh, alright. Pretty good there for the Rhino. Only taken 1. So now we have d6 plus 1 damage, so technically could kill it. Not quite, but I will take that. So 4 damage, taking it down to 3. And then probably the last chance to pop the Rhino. We're going to go with the Psychophage's Psychoclastic Torrent, since this is the only thing that he's in range of. So d6 shots. Right, so 6 shots at the very least. So 3, 6 shots torrent. So 5s to wound. So if I go hot here, which I didn't, could have killed it, but I will. Then -1 will just bring us back up to our 3-up save. Nothing there. So it looks like all the guns there from the Tyranids on this flank miss, with the Hive Tyrant not having anything that he can do there. So now we are going to go on to the Barb Gaunts. And when I say we're going to go into the Barb Gaunts, I mean we're going to completely skip over the Barb Gaunts, because they have 24-inch range on their guns, and none of them are in range of any of the CSM. So instead, we're going to start the guns into that further up squad of Possessed with the Screamer Killer. So his Bioplasmic Scream is going to be D6 plus 4, since they are a 5-man unit. So that's going to be a total of 9 shots. So 5, 9 shots. Hitting on 4s. And then strength 8, toughness 6, so 3s to wound. 3 wounds at minus 2 AP will take them to a 5-up save. Make 1 fail 2. That will be 1 possessed brought down to a wound. And then after he shoots, I will make the possessed take a battle shock test. So they have to roll their 6-up leadership, and they make it. So 2 damage done from the Screamer Killer. And then finally, what we're going to have to do is we are going to go with the Gargoyles and the Prime into those same Possessed. So we're now looking at 20 shots from the Gargoyles with sustained hits from both the Hyper Adaptation and being led by the Winged Prime. So 20 shots with 6s giving me an additional hit. On 4s, that is going to be, that was a 6. 1, 2, 3 extra hits. So we'll turn 3 of these 1s into some hits. And then all these 1s, 2s, and 3s will be misses. Then strength 5, toughness 6, so 5s to wound. For 1, 2, 3, just 3 wounds. And then with a 3-up save from the Possessed. Don't care at all. So they are done right there. And they do have the ability to make a normal move of up to 6 inches. If they do, that unit can't charge, though. I'm going to not do that, not because I want the Gargoyles in close combat, but because the Winged Hive, or the Winged Prime, might be able to. Alrighty, so the Gargoyles were the last ones to shoot, so now we are ready to get going into the charge phase, and we are going to get a charge in with a whole lot of the Nids. So, set out dice to show myself what they need into their targets. So just going to go kind of from or towards me, towards the opposite end of the table. Nobody is going to Overwatch, since the only ones who have any guns to do so are these Legionnaires, and not much hope in killing the Winged Prime, or Winged Hive Tyrant with their guns. So the Winged Hive Tyrant's going to go into the squad of Legionnaires with the attached Dark Apostle, needing a 10. A 5 and a 3 is not going to do it. Psychophage is going to go into the Rhino, needing an 8. Not going to get it with a 7. Then the Hormigons are going to go into the Possessed there in the middle, needing a 5. That one, I think, yeah, I think I'll reroll that one. Yikes. Getting 5. Alright, getting it with the 6, so I will just put one of those there to indicate that they have charged. And then finally the Screamer Killer into the other squad of Possessed, needing a 9. Gets it with an 11. So, making the charge moves and then piling in with the Hormigons, we are going to get started right on over here in the middle with them. So 9 of them made it into melee with the Possessed. That's 27 attacks with sustained hits on 6s. So 27 attacks hitting on 4s with 6s generating extra hits. That's going to be 23 hits in total. Then strength 3, toughness 6 is going to be 6s to wound. Hoping to at least kill one of them. Doesn't look like it. So we have 3 wounds at -1 AP. So 4 up saves. Will do a total of 1 damage from the squad. So that is not going to do too much there. Next up, it's going to be the Screamer Killer into the Possessed. Hopefully a little bit more successful here. We have 10 attacks on 3s. Unfortunately, no 6s for sustained here. Then strength 10, toughness 6, 3s to wound. Oof, not great, but AP -2, 3 damage a time. So each one of these 5 up failed is a Possessed dead. And that is going to be 3 of the Possessed dead. Unless I want to try to use my 1 CP to reroll one of these. I think not. So that's going to be 3 Possessed dead from that squad. And no Possessed dead in the squad into the Hormagaunts. Then the fightbacks from the Possessed. We're going to start off with the 2-man squad over there with the Screamer Killer right in their faces. Since it's probably not going to be a squad that's long for this world, I'm going to make a Dark Pact for sustained hits on 5 since they're Slaanesh. That's going to give me sustained hits on 5s and devastating wounds thanks to their Unholy Bloodshed ability. So 8 attacks, hitting on 3s, and then that will get me 4 extra hits with sustained. So a total of 10 hits out of 8 attacks. Strength 5, toughness 9, so 5s to wound. Those 6s are going to be mortal wounds instead. And then 2 regular wounds, excuse me, at -1 AP. So 2 3-up saves, make 1 fail 1, no chance to save. So that is going to be a total of 8 damage going through to the Screamer Killer from 2 Possessed. So that'll take the Screamer Killer down to 2 wounds remaining. And then do they fail their Battle Shock test? They are fine. So definitely a weaker squad, but that is almost a full Screamer Killer killed by 2 Possessed. Then the final thing for first turn, we're going to have all 5 of these Possessed go into the Hormagaunts. I'll also do their Dark Pact for 5s and 6s will be sustained. So 20 attacks, 5 and 6s will be sustained. So taking out all these 1s and 2s. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them will go right back in. And would you look at that? That essentially makes it a full house. Then strength 5, toughness 3 will be 3s to wound. And 6s will be 2 mortal wounds. So that's going to be a total of 6 mortal wounds. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 at -1 AP on 6s. So 3 of them die, plus 2, 4, 6. So 9 of them are going to bite the dust. So after that combat resolved, here's how we're looking. Pull the Hormagaunts out of combat with the Possessed. And that is going to do it for the turn for Chaos Space Marines. For my secondaries, I did Investigate Signal in 1 table quarter, and I extended Mad Battle Lines. That is going to put it up to a score of 7 for the Tyranids. as we wrap up the first battle round and go into turn 2 Chaos Space Marines. Turn 2 for the Chaos Space Marines. We only have one objective in our corner for CSM, so we've only gone up 5 points on the primary. And the secondaries are definitely doable, but we're going to have to work around them a little bit. We have Deploy Teleport Homer and Storm Hostile Objective. Storm Hostile Objective, just basically need to control either this one or the one in the center of the battlefield. While Deploy Teleport Homer, I might just have to give up the Warp Talons on the turn that they come in from Deep Strike to get me that. But otherwise, we should hopefully be able to utilize them pretty effectively. So we'll keep both of those. We've gone up to 2 CP for CSM, and we are ready to get going. We did also fail the Battle Shock test for these 2 possessed, so unfortunately, they are going to be Battle Shocked. It's going to kind of slow me down in this little corner with the Mauler Fiend, trying to deal with the Screamer Killer and all these gargoyles. But other than that, we are good to go into our movement phase. After moving all the Chaos Space Marines, here's how we are looking. So the Mauler Fiend and the Demon Prince with Wings have both moved forward to help deal with this corner of the battlefield. So Demon Prince is going to hopefully kill the Screamer Killer, while the Mauler Fiend is going to have to start wading through all of these gargoyles. Then the 5 possessed near the center of the table are just going to try to continue working on these Hormagaunts in the middle, while the Rhino is also helping out there, just trying to get some more OC on the objective. The 10-man squad with the chainswords and bolt pistols have gotten out with the Rhino and are aiming to take down the Hive Tyrant, while the Obliterators and the other squad with the Dark Apostle attached to it are aiming down sights at the Psychophage or the Zoanthropes. Finally, in the back, I did bring down the Warp Talons. They're just going to be sitting there doing Deploy Teleport Homer for 5 points for me. So that is going to be their turn done. In terms of shooting, we don't have, or well, I guess we do have more shooting now, but we're going to have to be selective with it to make sure that we don't proc the Feel No Pain for the Hive Tyrant. We're going to get started with the Rhino for the shooting phase, and the Rhino is just going to take some of its shots into the Hormagaunts to try to essentially guarantee that the possessed can finish off the rest of them in close combat. So the Rhino is going to start off with its Havoc Launcher. It's going to be D6 plus 2, since there's still 11 of them in the squad. So 3 shots on 3s. No need to make Dark Pacts here. And then Strength 5, Toughness 3. Just the 1 wound at a 5-up save. Not going to do it. So that'll be one of the Hormagaunts taken off. Do this guy, and then 4 shots from a rapid fire combi bolter. Again, wounding on 3s, and 5-up saves. We'll take another 3 off the board, so that should hopefully allow the rest of the possessed to chop them down into close combat. So now we are going to go into shooting this squad of Legionnaires, and they're going to start trying to whittle down some of the gargoyles. Looking at the ranges of that squad on the home field objective for CSM, I actually can't shoot into the gargoyles with the bolt guns. And really the only thing that they have good line of sight to and range of is the Psychophage with the heavy bolter. So, took it, so I might as well use it. Now I am going to use the heavy bolter for 3 attacks on 3s. And 2 misses there. Yeah. Strength 5, Toughness 9, so 5 to wound. get it? Nope. So lots and lots of ones there. So they're unfortunately not going to be doing much that turn. What I am going to do is I'm going to continue going into the psychophage, this time with the obliterators. So the 2 obliterators are going to try to go into it with the focused malice. So 2d3 shots for a total of 4 Melta shots. Not that Melta is going to come up this time, unfortunately. Yeah, I'll make a dark pact with them to get myself. We'll do sustained hits. So sustained hits on 6s. No such luck. But 3 of them do hit. Strength 12, toughness 9, so 3s. Ugh, just the one. At minus 3 AP, we'll bring it to its inbuilt 5-up, feel no pain. No, not 5-up, feel no pain. It's 6-up armor, and then we go to its 5-up, feel no pain with the 4 damage that go through. There we go. Misread that as an invuln for a second. Alright, so that saves 2 of them. So 2 damage taken onto the psychophage, and then a leadership check failed for the Dark Pact for 2 mortal wounds onto one of the obliterators. We're going to continue on with the shooting attacks into the psychophage. Take the rest of the 8 wounds off of it, hopefully. This is with the squad of legionnaires with the plasma gunner and the Dark Apostle. The plasma gunner is going to overcharge here, but we'll start off with the bolt guns. No Dark Pacts. So, oof, not great hits. And then 6s to wound with the bolt guns. Nothing there. Now with a rapid firing supercharged plasma, we'll make a hit and a miss. Strength 8, toughness 9, so 5. Nothing. And then the hazardous check doesn't do anything there. So kind of lackluster shooting. Only other things are pistols. I don't want to shoot into the winged hive tyrant, so that will be the shooting phase done. Going through the charge phase off camera for the Chaos Space Marine, since all of the chargers that I set up were pretty reliably going to make it. So now I have the Mauler Fiend into the Winged Prime and the Gargoyles. Demon Prince into the Screamer Killer, who spent the 1 CP for the Tyranids on Death Frenzy, so on a 4-up he's going to get to fight when he is slain. The Possessed in the middle are charging into the remnants of the Hormigunt squad, while the 10-man squad of Legionnaires is going into the Hive Tyrant. So, no CP left for the Tyranids to interrupt, so we're just going to go straight on through it. I'm going to start off with the Demon Prince going into the Screamer Killer. And scratch all that. Forgot about the Demon Prince with Wings ability of Demonic Destruction. So, rolled the 10d6 and got 4 mortal wounds off the Screamer Killer. So he is not going to be able to fight on death because I have to select him in the fight phase, and he died in the charge phase. So now I will go to the Screamer Killer's death throws. No such luck there. So that is the Demon Prince done already, and a big bug taken off the board. And with that, we're going to go to the Mauler Fiend next, I suppose. With the Mauler Fiend, it's going to end up being the same result for his Lasso Tendril and his Fist attack. So I'm just going to roll all 12 attacks together at once. And he is going to do his Dark Pact for the Slaaneshi, not Feel No Pain, 5-up. Sustained hits, 5-up. So 12 attacks on 3s. And all those 5s will turn into hits. So I will take one of those into a hit. Regular hit. Miss. Regular hit. So with that, that is going to make it so that we have 11 out of 12 hits. And then choose to kill will be 8 of the gargoyles taken off from the Mauler Fiend. Off camera, rolled for the Battle Shock test for the Mauler Fiend, and he is fine. Or leadership test, I suppose, not Battle Shock, but same difference. Next up, we're going to go with the Possessed Year into the Hormagaunts. Going to try to make sure that I guarantee the kill. So again, making a Dark Pact for 5s and 6s to be additional hits. The sustained hits from the Possessed made it so that I have a full 20 hits. 3s to wound, and my 6s are going to be mortal wounds instead. So I think that was a 4 or a 5. So that is going to be a grand total of 6 at 6 up armor saves. That's 5 of them dead, in addition to 8 mortal wounds going through. So I think, yep, so even the mortal wounds would have been enough there. So that is the Hormagaunts done. And then the Possessed pass their leadership check for the Dark Pact. So it looks like the center of the board goes to the Chaos Space Marines. Finally, for the fight phase for the Chaos Space Marines, we have the 10-man squad with the chainswords into the Winged Hive Tyrant. So we're going to do 40 attacks with 5s and 6s are sustained hits into the Hive Tyrant and rerolling wounds of 1. So with all that going on, I am going to roll it all off camera and come back to you with the saves from the Hive Tyrant. After the 40 attacks from the Chaos Space Marines, we have 10 wounds at -1. So 10 3-up saves for the Winged Hive Tyrant. So technically this could be enough to kill him if he failed all of these. But it is not pretty average roll there. So 3 wounds on the Winged Hive Tyrant. So now we've got the Tyranids fighting back. And we're going to basically just go through them as kind of reverse. So the Winged Hive Tyrant into the 10-man squad with the chain swords rather. So 6 attacks from his Bone Sword and Lash Whip on 2s. And then Strength 9, Toughness 4, 2s to wound, and they are twin linked. That's going to be 5 of them at AP -2, 3 damage a time. So each of these failed is a dead Marine. So that is half the squad gone right there. And then 4 attacks from his monstrous Scything Talons. Hold on. Yeah, so Tyrant Talons is 5 attacks on 2s. Oof, not great there. And then 3s to wound. So again, -2 AP, 5 ups. Fail another one, so that is going to be 6 out of the 10 dead for a total of 3 wounds on the Tyrant. Probably not a great trade there for the CSM, unfortunately. The only other close combat is the Winged Prime and the Gargoyles going into the Mauler Fiend. We'll do the Winged Tyranid Primes, 6 attacks on 2s. So that's going to be 5 hits at Strength 6, Toughness 10. So 5s to wound. So 2 wounds at -1, so 2 4-up saves for the Mauler Fiend. Fail both of those for 4 damage in total, so not too shabby from the Tyranid Prime right there. And then the Gargoyles are probably going to just flap ineffectively at the Mauler Fiend. And very surprisingly, the Gargoyles were able to take 1 wound off of the Mauler Fiend, bringing him down to a total of 7. So we are done with the turn. So we were able to deploy Teleport Homer in the deployment zone of the Tyranids. And then for Storm Hostile Objective, we get another 5. So that is 10 points for the Chaos Space Marines in their turn 2, bringing them up to 18 as we go into Tyranid's turn 2. Turn 2 for the Tyranids, and we have unleashed the Shadow and the Warp at the beginning of the turn, and it paid some pretty big dividends. So the squad that is in melee with the Hive Tyrant obviously failed since they had to take 1 for Shadow and the Warp and for being so low. The Obliterators also failed, which I was really hoping for so that they can Overwatch. And then the other big one is that the Obliterator failed, or not the Obliterator, the Mauler Fiend failed his, so that I can claim that No Man's Land objective and net me 5 more points on primary. So we went up to 17 for holding 2 out of the 5 objectives. Our secondaries weren't as good. We did have to spend a CP to ditch Cleanse, and that wound up giving us Assassination and Deploy Teleport Homer. Deploy Teleport Homer I'm probably not going to do, and just trash at the end of the turn for a point. For Assassination, I am looking at a potential kill on the Demon Prince or the Dark Apostle, hopefully, if I play my cards right. But with that, we are going to go on to the movement phase for the Tyranids. So, again, we rush towards the middle with a bunch of the Tyranids. The Psychophage is aiming at either the squad with the Dark Apostle in it or the Obliterators. Zoanthropes are moving up, hoping to probably either take down the Rhino or put some shots into the Possessed, while the Tyrannifex is going to be on Demon killing duty. And then the 20 squad of Termagants has just moved up there 6 inches. They're probably not going to be doing much this battle at this point. But the Barb Gaunts are going to finally get a good target, shooting everything that they've got into the Warp Talons. So we're going to start off with the Barb Gaunts, obviously. 5d6 plus 5 shots into the Warp Talons. So that is going to be 10, 25 shots into Warp Talons at strength 5. So 10 shots, 15 shots, 20 shots, and 25 shots. Hitting on 3s because they're heavy and we stood still. So, come on. Trying to get all the dice into my hand. So we'll roll those 3 in a second. So, get that. And then that. 3s to hit. And then because of the Hive Fleet adaptation, I have exploding 6s against infantry. So it looks like that is going to get me all but one of them to hit. Strength 5, toughness 4, so 3s to wound. Struggling. 3s, and then the rest of them that I couldn't pick up are 3s again. So that is going to be a whole bunch of wounds. Thankfully for the Warp Talons, no AP. So, and we're in cover, so 2s. Alright, so just 1 wound on one of the Warp Talons. We'll bring him down to 1 wound, but that is going to disrupt them. So only 1 wound, but -2 move and -2 on their charge should hopefully slow them down a fair bit. Next up in shooting is the Psychophage into the squad with the attached Dark Apostle. So d6 shots with Torrent, 5 shots from him. Strength 6, toughness 4, so 3s to wound. -1 AP and ignores cover is going to give us a 4-up. Ooh, nothing there, unfortunately. So, Psychophage, big miss in shooting. Next up, we're going to go with the Zoanthropes. The Zoanthropes are actually going to go ahead and take a shot at the Obliterators here, hoping to take them out. That way, basically the one really good firepower unit that I have left for the Chaos Space Marines will be taken out. We're going to do 3 of their Warp Blast attacks into the Obliterators. So 3 of them. 1 will miss, but because of my adaptation, that 6 will get me a sustained hit. So strength 12, toughness 7, so 3s to wound. 3 wounds, going right through their armor to a 5-up invuln. So 5 ups, make 1, fail 2. So I've got 1 on 3 wounds and 1 on full wounds. So we have d6 plus 1. We'll kill the first one with 7 damage. And then the second one, hoping for something high, will be another 6. So that will be the Obliterators taken off the board from the Zoanthropes. For the last big guns for the Tyranids, we're going to have the Tyrannifex. He's going to put everything he's got into the Demon Prince right now. I've spent 1 CP for Dark Obscuration on the Demon Prince as well. So that's going to give him stealth, aka -1 to be hit. So we are going to go with the Rupture Cannon first. 2 attacks on 4s now that I am at -1 to hit. So that'll take 1 away as a miss. And let's see, I think... yeah, I'm going to use my 1 CP here to try to reroll that hit. So bringing me down to no CP for the Nids. To no avail. So that is going to just be 1 Rupture Cannon wounding on a 2. Makes it -4 will take us to a 4-up invuln save for the Demon Prince. And he makes it. So that is disappointing for the Nids. But I still have my Stinger Salvos, so 8 shots on 4s. And he is a monster, so that does not get me the exploding 6s. Strength 5, toughness 9, so 5 to wound. Just the 1 at no AP, but the Demon Prince does have a 2-up save. So, nada there. And then I do have the Termagants. They'll shoot into the Demon Prince as well, but they probably won't accomplish much. So, unsurprisingly, Termagants didn't do anything. They did get 1 wound on the Demon Prince, and he rolled a 2, but he has a 2-up armor save regardless, so they almost did something, but not quite effectively enough. In the charge phase, the Psychophage is going to go in and start tearing up this squad that has the Dark Apostle attached to it. And with a 10-inch charge, he is going to make it with the greatest of ease. And then for the Tyrannifex, unfortunately, I don't think he is going to be able to do anything to the Demon Prince in close combat. I also think he's about to get pounced on by these Possessed. So might as well try to make use of him while I have him. So he is going to try to charge into the Rhino. With a 7, he will do just that as I try to finagle him to not bump the terrain or stand on the objective with his big gun. So, now that we've gone through the charge phase, we have the Dark Apostle's ability of Malign Sacrifice to resolve. So I am going to essentially be able to sacrifice one of the Dark Disciple models to do 1 or D3 mortal wounds. So on a 2 to 5, it's 1, and then a 6, it's D3. And of course, it's a 1. So let's say we threw the book at him and he didn't like what he read. We do have enough CP to interrupt with the Chaos Space Marines, so the Psychophage is going to get started going into that squad now. So the Psychophage has D6 plus 1 attacks into the squad, so D6 plus 1. Yikes, just the 2. Because of his Feeding Frenzy ability, and because the Dark Disciple's not there anymore, they are below starting strength, so this will be plus 1 to hit. So hitting it on 2s. Okay. What are you doing to me, bro? Alrighty, so that was yikes. With that, I don't think there's any real threats that the Chaos Space Marines feel like are going to go by. So I'm just going to do the Tyranid effects into the Rhino next. So the Tyranid effects has 4 attacks into the Rhino on 3s. 3 hits. Strength 8, toughness 9, so 5 to wound. No wounds there. And those are the chargers. So now we will go ahead and fight. And I'm going to go ahead and fight with this squad into my ongoing combat. So I'm going to go with the squad of Legionnaires going into the Hive Tyrant. So at this point, even though the Marco Slash doesn't give them benefits, I'm going to do a Dark Pact for lethal hits. So 6s will automatically wound here. So 16 attacks. So thankfully, 2 of those will automatically go through to be wounds right away. And all my 1s and 2s go away. And then 6s to wound, re-rolling my 1s, which I don't have any of. And then we have 2 3-up saves for nothing against the Hive Tyrant. So now it's back to the Tyranids in the ongoing fights. We will now have the winged Tyranid Prime go into the Mauler Fiend with his 6 attacks on 2s. He is part of the unit that he is leading, so that's a sustained hit with the 6. And then strength 6 against the Mauler Fiend. So, nothing there, unfortunately. And then I think I have, yes, I have 5 of the gargoyles in range. So that's going to be 2 hits and 1 exploding 6. On 6s to wound. Alright, and then a 3-up save. So again, a gargoyle does a single wound to the Mauler Fiend, bringing it down to 6 wounds remaining. Then into the Chaos Space Marine's turn, we're going to have the Dark Apostle squad go into the Psychophage, making a Dark Pact for a sustained hits on 5s. So each of those 5s and 6s will get a hit. See if I can't. Alright, so that is going to result in only 1 of the original attacks missing. And we do get plus 1 to wound, so strength 4, toughness 9 is going to be on 5s now. So we have 6 wounds at no AP against the Psychophage. So 3-up saves. Fail 2 of those. And then a 5-up feel no pain. It's going to make both of those. So that's the squad done. Now their Dark Pact leadership is fine. And then the Dark Apostle, he does have his Accursed Crozius attacks. So 5 attacks on 2s. Strength 6, toughness 9. So on 4s. At -1 AP, it's going to be 4-up saves. Fail both of those. It's 2 damage a time for the Dark Crozius. Or Sid Crozius, rather. And the Psychophage will only take 1. So while he completely whiffed his attacks, at least he doesn't take much damage in return. And we went ahead and did the rest of the fight phase off camera. Expectedly, the Winged Hive Tyrant killed the last 4 of the Chainsword squad over here. Rhino did absolutely nothing to the Tyrant effects, and 8 more of the gargoyles were killed by the Mauler Fiend. So that's the end of the turn 3, or turn 2 for Tyranids. Yeah, turn 2 for Tyranids. We did not score either of our secondaries. And at this point, I think we're going to ditch both of those to get a CP. So Assassination and Deploy Teleport homers are both going to be binned as we end Battle Round 2 and go back into Chaos Space Marines for turn 3. Turn 3 for Chaos Space Marines, and we are looking pretty good. We got a good 10 points on the primary for holding this No Man's Land objective and our home field objective. We also got Investigate Signals and Overwhelming Force for our secondaries. Overwhelming Force, I think I can definitely do and get the full 5. Investigate Signals, I don't think I'm going to be able to do too effectively there. So I'm going to spend my 1 per game CP to get rid of that Investigate Signals and instead get Attempting Target. So what's the one that the Tyranids think the Chaos Space Marines can't get? It's going to be this one over here near the Psychophage and the Winged Hive Tyrant. So probably not the easiest thing in the world, but I think definitely doable with the right application of force. And the application of force is what the Chaos Space Marines excel at. Movement is done, and also so is shooting, because there was literally only 1 gun to shoot for the Chaos Space Marines. We've moved forward with the Possessed, ready to help out and kill the Psychophage. We're probably going to get killed in return by the Winged Hive Tyrant, but right now we got to do what we got to do. The Zoanthropes were shot by the Heavy Bolter of the Legionnaires in the back. Took 1 wound of 2 damage, but the 6-up Feel No Pain provided by the Psychophage that I'm finally remembering was enough to save 1 damage, so 1 Zoanthropes down to 2. The Demon Prince is ready to get into a scrap with the Tyranifex. Probably not going to be enough to kill him in 1 fell swoop, but hopefully I'm wrong there for the sake of the CSM. And then finally, the 2 Possessed are moving towards the Gargoyles, and the 5 Warp Talons are moving towards the Barb Gaunts. I considered overwatching here, but I only did 1 wound in regular shooting. Don't think I was going to do another one in Overwatch. So with that, we are fully ready to go on to the charge phase. So I'll do that right now. So there's going to be -2 since we are suppressed for the Warp Talons going into the Barb Gaunts. A 9 going down to a 7 should get them in comfortably. The Possessed, obviously, with 8 inches are going to get plenty of movement and hopefully help kill him. The Demon Prince is just going to end there. And then the 2 other Possessed with an 8-inch charge are going to slice on up the Gargoyles. In the end of the charge phase, we have the Demon Prince's ability to do mortal wounds to the Tyranifex. So we are going to have 10d6, and each 4-up is a mortal wound. So we have reached the max of 6 mortal wounds onto the Tyranifex to get us started in the fight phase. Starting off with the Possessed into the Psychophage, we're going to go with our ability of 5-up sustained hits for Mark of Slaanesh for our Dark Pact. So this is going to be a total of 20 attacks into the Psychophage on 3s. And then all my 5s and 6s are going to get an additional hit. So try to keep track of which is exploding into which. That is going to be all but one hit. I do my little dice towers, and then strength 5, toughness 9, 5s to wound, and 6s will be mortals instead from devastating wounds. There we are. Oh, almost. I almost got them all. 5s. So that's going to be 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 mortal wounds right off the bat. Against his 5-up Feel No Pain. So I'll save 2 of them. So I've taken 3 so far. And another 3, so 6 mortal wounds. Taking him down to 1 wound remaining. And then I have 1, 2, 3, 4 of them at -1 AP. So 4-up saves. Fail 2 for 4 damage against his Feel No Pain. All these need to be 5-ups, or else he's gone. Deadly Demise 1 on a 6. Nope, no such luck there. That is going to be the Psychophage gone. It's going to be 1 tally on Overwhelming Force, and it'll get me the ability to claim the Tempting Target objective. Next up in the fight phase, we're going to go with the Demon Prince with Wings into the Tyranid, going for sustained hits 5-up on the strikes of my Hellforged sword. So 6 attacks on 2s, 5s will get additional hits. No such luck there with additional hits. Strength 8, toughness 12 will be 5s to wound. Ooh, just the 1 wound. Normally 3 damage going down to 2 damage. And I've also spent 1 CP on Rapid Regeneration to give the Tyranid a 6-up Feel No Pain. So this is going to be 2 6s. Nope, just the 1. So just 1 damage from the Demon Prince into the Tyranid. Doing the 2 fights from the Possessed and the Mauler Fiend over here. We have killed the Gargoyles and the Winged Hive Tyrant, or not Winged Hive Tyrant, Winged Prime, between the Possessed and the Mauler Fiend, who actually both failed their Dark Pact leadership and took 2 mortal wounds. But now we need to see if the Winged Prime gets to fight on a 4-up. He does not. So unfortunately, he is destroyed. Thankfully, the Possessed did do some damage to themselves as well as the Mauler Fiend while they attacked, but that looks like it is going to be it for that flank. And then finally, all we have left is the Tyranid. I don't think he's going to do anything to the Demon Prince. I'm just going to try to stomp the Rhino a bit. So, unsurprisingly, the Tyranid and the Rhino haven't done anything to one another. Also forgot about the Warp Talons into the Barb Gaunts, but doing them off camera. The Barb Gaunts were massacred horrifically by the Warp Talons, who are now on the home objective of the Tyranids. So that is going to take them off of every single objective on the board and score me 10 points on primary, or 10 points on secondaries in my turn 3. So we are looking like we are in some pretty significant trouble for the Tyranids as we go into their turn 3. And turn 3 for the Tyranids, it does not look good. We did actually get some points on the primary because of the sticky objective rule for the secondary, or for the mission rule rather. The Tyranid and these 2 CSM units are tied, so tie, I still hold it until they take it away from me. That's 5 points, bringing me up to 22. However, secondaries look pretty not doable. We have to capture the outpost and get behind enemy lines, neither of which I think I'm going to be able to do. So I think this turn I'm going to play off camera just to see what I can do with the Tyranids to see if we have a chance. But I think we might have to be calling it curtains right now, or pretty soon, for the Tyranids. So, summarizing turn 3, we were able to completely pick up the 5-man squad of Possessed between shooting with the Zoanthropes and fighting with the Winged Hive Tyrant. However, other than that, we're still not looking great. The Tyrannifex is down to 3 wounds from the melee that he is involved with the Demon Prince and the vehicle, while the Termagants were not able to do anything to the Warp Talons, and they're in a prime position to kill probably the entire squad if they get even remotely lucky. So we are going to ditch both of the secondaries for a CP, but I think turn 4 with the Chaos Space Marines might be about it for the game. Turn 4 with the Chaos Space Marines and going up to 53 after scoring the primary. Looks like it is definitely going to be the victory for CSM, as we pulled 2 very doable secondaries with no prisoner and area denial. We also spent 1 CP for fallback and charge with the Demon Prince. So the Demon Prince is going to hopefully be able to fight the Winged Hive Tyrant. Maybe he doesn't kill it there, but between the Mauler Fiend, 2 Possessed, should be able to take out the Tyrannifex. The Warp Talons can take out the Termagants back here. And even then, the squad over here can have a little bit of chip shots into the Prime. Or not the Prime, the Tyrant. So I'm going to play through the turn off camera just to see how things go and come back to you at the end of the turn and basically at the end of the game. And as expected, here we are at the end of turn 4 for the Chaos Space Marines and the end of the game. So you'll notice a distinct lack of models there in the middle. So unsurprisingly, the Mauler Fiend and the 2 Possessed were in fact able to take the 2 wounds, or the 3 wounds off of the Tyrannifex, who did 5 mortal wounds to everything close by in his deadly demise, finishing off the Rhino, the Mauler Fiend, and the Possessed. So he went down, but not without a fight. Or well, he didn't get to fight, but he did explode upon death. So that cleaned out the middle pretty damn well. The Warp Talons wiped the floor with the Termagants. And surprisingly enough, the Winged Hive Tyrant did survive and took the Winged Demon Prince down to a total of 4 wounds. However, with the score being 62 to 22 in favor of the Chaos Space Marines, definitely calling it there a solid victory for CSM, even though they are, well, they've definitely got more units on the board than the Tyranids at this point, so I was going to say that they're pretty thin on the board, but let's face it, they're really not. So that is a Chaos victory. Hope everybody enjoyed the video. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you did, and I'll see all you folks on the next battlefield of the 41st Millennium.